since this kid is born, you had answers for everything they went through. That's part of being a good mommy. From the first minute, if not, you went to the doctor. It was your responsibility to take care of this kid and to figure out what to do. And when the kid said, I banged my toe, what do I do? You had an answer. Put ice on it, kiss the boo-boo, whatever it is. They're throwing up, mommy, what do I do? Okay, let's take this medicine, They fall off the bike, they scratch their knee, what do I do? They come running to you. Okay, here's a Band-Aid, it's not gonna hurt. We'll put some stuff on the inside, Vaseline or, see, I'm a guy, I don't know, bacitracin, right? Right, guys, what do fathers know? Go to mommy. Go to mommy. But the mommies have to actually know, right? So what happens is when they start getting out of stuff that you actually know about, when it's not regular parenting that you're professionals on, even though you never took a course in it, but you especially after a couple of kids, you figured it out. I can't fall asleep. What should I do? So, let's read a book. Let's count sheep. We have Dr. Spock, right? Or is there a new one since then? Who's the new Dr. Spock? They probably have new books, right, on how to raise kids normally. I don't know. So mommies are used to it. And then the kids, now the kids, right, now the kids are complaining about, I can't fall asleep at night for 4 or 5 hours. And they're showing symptoms of trauma. And then a lot of times parents say, what do I say? The answer is you don't know. And it's so hard for some parents to be able to say, I wish I knew how to help you. I really don't have the answer, but you're not alone. And I'm holding you, and together we're going to go find out the best way to deal with this. What do I do? Nobody in my class wants to look at me. I'm being shunned. You don't have an answer. You can't unless you're an expert in that field, and even so, when it's your own child, it's very hard to give yourself advice, to see it. So we have to be able to be humble enough to realize this is out of regular and not advise our kids or especially other parents, which you guys all complain about this constantly. People tell you what you should do with your kids who are so far out of regular chinuch and acting normal, and people as if they know. And they never helped anybody. Oh, are you an expert? Great. No. How much do you charge per hour? No, free, because, I'm free also, but I have some experience. How many kids have you saved? We're heading, Baruch Hashem, B'li Ayin Hara, towards 300 from, which means they're alive and healthy. It's a long process, right? But we're heading towards 300. A guy just today, this guy I didn't see since 2008. And he texted me today because he's going to Eretz Yisrael because his daughter just had a baby. She got married, Kadas Moshe Yisrael, and he's going to Eretz Yisrael. It takes a long time until they get out of the funk that they're in, right? And they get out of their, whatever it is, addiction or depression or whatever it is, and they start building a normal life. It takes a long time. And Be'ezus Hashem, by all of you, should have Yiddish Nachas and walk your kids down to a Chuppah Kadas Moshe Yisrael. Back to what we're discussing, it's so hard for some parents not to just give answers. And what you're doing is you're cheapening your voice. When you give answers that are not true and are not helpful, then they learn that these people have no idea what they're talking about. So if you don't know, you have to be able to say, I don't know, but can I just give you a hug? And I'm with you. And don't lose that trust. Because when you start saying, oh, you should do this and do that, and it doesn't work, every time you give an idea that doesn't work, they trust you less. And you would feel the same way about some friend of yours that always has a solution for you. After a couple of times, 2, 3, 4, 5, eventually you're going to be like, why do I ask her? She has no idea what she's talking about. I don't want you to end up in that. And parents have a really hard time. It's always, so what should I say? So what should I say? You're not a trauma expert. It's okay. You're not a trauma expert, and you don't know how to deal with all of these things. If you don't know how to help your kid, say, honey, I love you so much. Sweetie, neshama, whatever you call your kid. Not whatever you call your kid, only the good stuff. I love you. I wish I can help you, but you're not alone. And people say, well, what does that do? It does a lot. There's a big difference between somebody feeling alone or somebody feeling, I'm messed up, but I have support. I have a mommy and I have a tati. And it's not just our kids, and it's not just us that need it. We're going all the way back to Yosef HaTzadik in Mitzrayim. And the difference between life and death for Yosef was the fact that he connected himself to his father Yaakov emotionally. The Medrash says that the Nisayon that Yosef had, was stronger than him. He lost. It was over. Says the Nesiv Shalom, the kesher between Yaakov and Yosef had to be constant. The emotional connection was the same when Yosef was home or Yosef was far away. He says that's why Vayimayin li'isnachem, because if Yaakov would have stopped believing that Yosef is alive, then that spiritual connection between them, that power that Yosef was getting through this like Bluetooth charger, would have, and then he would have been all alone. In order for Yosef, I'm quoting him mentally, I hope I get it right, in order for Yosef to be able to remain in the position of being able to fight, he had to be able to connect to his father emotionally. So in his time of need. It says, and he got emotional energy from that. And that's why if it would have been, oh, Yosef's dead, so he would have stopped giving emotional energy to Yosef. Yosef would have stopped receiving that. He would have felt all alone. And the challenge was stronger than Yosef. He could not beat this. He says, but what happened was, in this kasher im aviv, he connected himself to his parents, his father, to his parents. V'shuv lo haya yachid, and he was no longer emotionally alone. Became a 2 against 1. If you go outside and a guy's going to beat you up with a knife, you're done. But 2 of us against 1 guy with a knife, we can beat him. He says that's what happened. He says the koyach of Vayimayin b'shas nesayin was because his father refused to give up on him. Your kids are going to have a moment where they can give up to whatever that thing is, to depression or to drugs or to life. And the koyach of your not giving up on them, Vayimayin li'isnachem, I'm not going to listen to those people that say, oh, you had 8 kids, now you have 7. Give up on him. Send him away. No, not giving up on him. I will have nachas from him. We will get through this together. And I'm going to keep on, which is what the Nesiv Shalom says, emotionally putting love through energy. It sounds so like not Jewish, but that's what he says. That's what the Nesiv Shalom says. Emotional energy of muchrachim lishloit beruach. You have to get a hold of yourself. Ule'oirer a love and awaken to this kid. Ahava v'chemla. Love and compassion. Chemla is like empathy. Right? Even more than you had until now. How does that help your kid? Because it does. Because it's energy in the air, and they feel it, and they know it, and they sense it, and Yosef was able to feel it. And he says, the koyach of Vayimayin b'shas nesayin came Vayimayin, the same word, Vayimayin li'isnachem, because the father refused to give up on him. That's your power. I'm with you. You're not alone. And I don't know how you're going to get out of this, and I don't know, but I believe in you. I believe in you. And I'm with you. Imay anoichi b'tzara, Imay with an aleph. Mami is with you in your tzara. And Aviv also. Give them parents. Don't try to answer all their stuff, especially if you're being honest with yourself and you really don't know. Don't just throw out, okay, don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Who says? A kid who's suicidal, everything's going to be fine. No. Yes, we try to give hope also, right? Because we're not going to say, you're right, you're dead, you have no reason to live, you're a loser. You say, but you also have to be real. You have to be with them. And when you have the NKN, the nafshik shua b'nafshay, then it doesn't even matter that much because they feel you. That's why you have to work on NKN. Get that NKN on that thing from 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and then it matters less even what you say, and you don't even need to say. And then you could just open your arms, you could just say, I wish I could take away your pain. Come, please, can I hug you? I need a hug. And your kid won't be allergic to you because you're not part of the pain for years and years, and you apologize, you took the knife out, these are all things you need to do. And you're not part of the pain anymore. And then they feel empowered because I have parents who believed in me. And Be'ezras Hashem, you look 5 years later, you look 10 years later, you look down the road, right? Like just now, I just celebrating the bas mitzvah of a home sweet home kid who was so confused. And now Baruch Hashem, married and great and wonderful and has a family, is making, look down the road, they're going to look back and say, I don't know how you did it, but I always got the feeling that you believed in me. That's your job. And don't let anything get in the way of that. Then, when you get that, that's when we start with the fun. Oh, that's when we rock their world with wows and wows and wows, and you get that smile, and you surprise them, and it doesn't work without that last piece.